Okay, question one. And this is a very easy question. 93% of people got it right. What you just need to know is that distance is 25%. This distance here is another 25%. This distance here, another 25%. And this distance here is 25%. So we want to know the percentage of people less than 30. So there's 30. We want less than. So that's 3 lots of 25. The answer must be D. Okay, so 5-number summary. That's quite simple. It's min, Q1, median, Q3, and max. And really, actually, the trick in this question is knowing that that is the min and that is the max. So the outliers count, okay? Those outliers count. So the minimum here is obviously there 21. This is close to 36. So it can't be C, D, or E because of the 21, and it can't be A because of the 36. Therefore, our answer is B. I'd like to also add another point here, though, while we're at it. This here, that's not the lower fence. And this point here is not the upper fence. All right, so this point here, do it in another color here. This point here, that's the lowest value before you hit the upper fence. So you don't draw the upper fence. It's a very common mistake. And the same thing here. This is the highest value before the upper fence, but the upper and lower fences aren't drawn. So that's another common misunderstanding. So when you're looking at these kind of questions, do double check yourself and make sure you understand what all those percentages mean and what the values mean, and look at also what other questions they might ask you. And it could be an upper or lower fence question next exam. It's not going to be exactly the same thing this exam. Okay, so we're trying to find the mean x bar and the standard deviation Sx. Now, let's just think about this for a moment. Look, the mean is like, that's the average, what we normally think of as the average. So it can't be A and it can't be B because that's a stupid mean. The mean's not going to be 1.58 or 1.66. Obviously, you can see the mean's going to be 27.8. So all these three are the same. So what you're really asking is, what is the standard deviation? And it'd be quite hard to work out. It's not likely to be 2.3 because we've already had the 1.58 and 1.66. This is just a matter of sticking into your calculator and making sure you're choosing the right one. So if you stick it in your calculator, you will find the answer is D. Now, what's the other main point they're trying to make here? This one is what we call the little sigma x, yes? And this one is the Sx. So you would have actually, if you put the numbers in your calculator, got both those values. They're just trying to make sure you understand Sx and sigma x. Okay, now here's a classic trick because they're asking you to find the median, but they're also done this thing where they've used log 10. Let's just have a quick talk about logs. So if I have the number 1, I can write that as 10 to the power 0. And number 10 is 10 to the power 1, 100 is the 10 to the power 2, 1,000 is 10 to the power 3, and 10,000 is the 10 to the power 4, and 100,000 is 10 to the power 5, and a million is 10 to the power 6. Now what the log does is it returns these values. Okay, so if we log any of those numbers, so when we look at these values here, we've got the 0 here. That's the value of 1. This is the value of 10. That's 100. That's 1,000. That's 10,000. That's 100,000. Got to squeeze all the zeros in there. And that's a million. So you can immediately sort of rule out A and B. Now the median is likely to be between here and here. And you can just guess that to a certain extent, but you can think about it. You got 1 plus 3 is 4, plus another 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 4 is 16. Oh wait, it tells you how many we got here, 17. So 17 is, the median is going to be 17 plus 1 divided by 2. It's the 9th value. 1, 4, 8. It's somewhere in here. Yes? So it's between 3 and 4. 3 zeros is 1,000, 4 zeros is 10,000, so it's between 1,000 and 10,000. So be careful. A lot of people get fooled into thinking the answer was B, 3, and 4, but that was because they weren't paying attention to that log 10. It is a common trick, but just remember, it just tells you how many zeros. So 1 is 1 0, which is 10, 2 is 2 zeros, which is 100, and so on and so on. Not that hard to get the hang of, and you don't need to hit a calculator for any of this. Okay, so this one says there are 300 sugar traps, and we want to look at less than 250 moths. So we're not looking at scent or light, we're just looking at here at the sugar. We can read off the graph, it's 30, but it's 30%. So it's not 30. Now, if you think about this, if it was 30 in 100, it'd be 60 in 200, it'll be 90 in 300. Or 3 lots of 30 is 90. So that's the easy way to answer that one. Pay attention to that trick that you didn't use A as 30% because there were actually 300.